In a field lies hope, anticipation, from the biggest races to the brightest stages.
Forbidden Trade with a gigantic upset.
Desperate man, there's no desperation in those strides.
It's Bulldog Hanover, the fastest mile in harness racing history.
For the glory, the pride, the payoff, enter the field. The Ontario Sire Stakes program, from Ontario farms to the world stage.
Winback Farm of Canada is home to 8 exceptional stallions, including Archangel, sire of Super Final winner Safe Conduct, and Simcoe winner Twin B Archie. Better Than Cheddar, sire of 2 Super Final gold winners, Cheesy Smile and Cold Creek Queso. Betting Lines, first Ontario crop foals in 2023. He's a sire of Millionaire Bucka Bet Hanover. Mick Wicked, Canadian Hall of Fame inductee, whose first crop will be 2 in 2023. And Trixton, sire of O'Brien Award winner Evident Beauty. Look for his first Ontario crop of the 2023 yearling sales. Also standing, Art Speak, Better's Delight, and My MVP. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.
The racing is fast and exciting at the picturesque Woodbine and Woodbine Mohawk Park racetracks in Ontario, Canada. Woodbine Standardbred, home of the Pepsi North America Cup, a summer classic.
Pebble Beach in Iran.
And Woodbine Thoroughbred, home of the historic King's Plate.
But the mighty filly has devastated them.
Full fields, exotic wagers, iconic events. Play Woodbine Thoroughbred and Woodbine Standardbred today at your favorite wagering location.
Welcome to Tomiko Training Center in Campbellville, Ontario. I'm Jaimi MacDonald, and welcome to Twos in Training on Harness Racing Update. Today, Desiree Jones joins us to talk about her 2-year-olds and a little something she's learned from over the years from her dad, Norm Jones, and many of the other trainers she's worked for. She looks to grow her stable over the next few years and see what's to come this summer. Desiree Jones joins us now here on Twos in Training. And Des, before we get into your 2-year-olds, let's talk about how you grew up in the industry with your dad, Norm Jones. What impact has he had just on your entire life growing up here in the industry?
Sure, I think he's obviously the reason I'm here training horses in the first place. He showed me a lot of adversities. I mean, we grew up on a training center, so I got to see how the track needed to be done, farm work that goes into it, just aside from the horses. And then he always ran a stable of 20 or 25, sometimes even 30, mostly homebreds, which taught us a lot, taught me a lot. They're a little harder to get along with now that I've learned what sale horses are like. So yeah, lots of trotters, and he taught me a lot about the business.
And you've not only worked with your dad, but you've worked with a number of prominent trainers in the industry. What are some big takeaways that you've learned?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I rode for Tony Beaton for a while, and that taught me a lot about pacers, which I didn't even really know how to put a pacing hobble on until I did that. That's a little embarrassing now with the horses I have. But yeah, he taught me a lot of how to manage a barn, and I think that he learned a lot of that from Casey Coleman, which does an amazing job at managing her barn. So yeah, mostly management from everybody else.
Is there anyone you look up to in the industry where you kind of strive to be in the next, 5-10 years?
Sure, yeah. I mean, most of the trotting people, so Luke Blay and Matt Bax always has a lot of good horses with his dad, a lot of trotting guys.
And speaking of, horses and those big stables, you have a couple coming back this year. Who are you most looking forward to so far this season?
Probably Which Way to the Beach. I mean, he's our fastest horse in the barn, and he gave us kind of a thrill last year going against Bulldog, and although he didn't make a lot of money, I think that he put in quite the effort for us, and we were pretty proud of that. I think he'll be pretty competitive this year. What an Angel is one of our better trotters, it seems like, this year, and he's coming along really good. He just finished 4th in the SBOA elimination, so trotted 53. Pretty excited for him as well.
Good luck this season with the ones coming back, and let's get into kind of how you look for your 2-year-olds before we talk about a handful of them. You go to the sales. The ones we're going to speak of today all came from Lexington. So when you're at the Lexington sale looking at the yearlings, what are you looking for, or what kind of catches your eye?
Sure. I think we do it a little bit differently than everybody else. Gino likes to buy in quantity. We end up with almost more yearlings than we think we do going into it. That's why we only went to Lexington this year. It's exhausting being at the sale. I think that a lot of people asked us if we looked at every horse in the sale this year. Every morning we're up, we can't stop to get lunch or dinner, and we're back to the sale again. So when it comes to looking, trying not to get too exhausted, we look for a lot of size. He likes bigger horses, and I kind of agree. When you go to the bigger races, you see a lot of size there. You don't see many runts, as we like to say. Conformation is pretty big for us with the trotters. We try to mix it a little bit. This year we did things a little bit differently. Last year he bought a lot of higher priced horses, and we were trying to keep the price tag down on each individual this year. So we looked at things that we could deal with, that we thought had maybe not so much pedigree and better conformation, and vice versa, just so that we weren't buying those $200,000-$300,000 yearlings anymore. Yeah.
And when they get into your barn as yearlings, you're breaking them. What kind of steps do you take? Do you kind of like the slow process or quick?
Sure, yeah. When it comes to breaking them, we like to take it pretty slow. I think that you can ruin a trotter pretty fast, if you rush them through that process. Then when it comes to training down, we usually don't turn anything until about Christmas time, let them go 3-minute miles and take it pretty slow from there, and then they'll show you what they need to go after that.
And as a group of them, just in general, how are they going this year?
Very good. I think we're happy with our stock this year. Last year we actually got rid of quite a few more than this year. Just conformation issues and some lameness issues. I noticed a huge difference being in Florida that way. We didn't have quite as few lameness problems this year, so we've hung it on to almost the whole group so far. So
we're just off the track now with your 2-year-olds. The first one we're going to talk about is Tactical Strike for $80,000 in Lexington.
Yeah, this was one of our higher priced yearlings we bought this year. We really liked her. So far, I love her. I think she's my favorite filly in the barn. They named her properly. She's quite a handful. She's not very nice to work around in the barn, but she does everything right on the track so far.
And another tactical landing filly, Tactical Princess.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Curtis about this earlier. She was quite the filly to get going. She was good starting out, and then in Florida she would stop on us often. She actually stopped in the stretch and threw somebody over the crossbar in Florida. We started putting her on the strip down there and tried a few different things, and now it's like her whole attitude is turned around, and she's one of our favorites as well.
And your next filly is another tactical landing for $40,000, Landing Order.
Before we actually looked at this filly in the sale, we noticed her at Preferred. We were there that morning and she was being viewed, and she's like the size of a house. She's really, really strong, and that kind of attracted us right away. Hopefully she can stay sound with her weight, but so far she's got an amazing attitude.
Yeah, I was just, as you were saying how big she was, I was just thinking, the growth-wise, sometimes it can hinder a little bit when they're bigger.
Yeah, she went through a bit of a growth spurt there in Florida, and we give her a little bit of time, and she's holding up.
Next up is your muscle mass filly, Summer Crush.
Yeah, so I think when most people aim for a muscle mass, they look for the good-gated ones, the kind attitudes, they kind of do everything right, and she's so smart, and she kind of has all those attributes that you would look for in a muscle mass. So far, so good.
Next up is your Colt Top Mast.
Yeah, this guy's attitude is, he's on and off, training him down for the first few months. We thought that he wasn't a Walner because he was so sweet and he never did anything wrong. And just as of late, he's kind of come into himself, and he's been a handful in the barn. But when he decides he wants to do it, he really impresses us. He has some issues going off stride sometimes training, but we kind of just look past it and try another day,
And your last Walner colt here on the list is Well Met.
He's got to be our favorite Walner in the barn. He's a big, strong horse. Gino actually owned this horse's brother in at the Rodanthe. He races at Mohawk right now. This horse is a bit heavier and stronger than he was. And so far he's good. He's got a great attitude as well.
Thank you for joining us here, Desiree, and good luck this season, and all the best to you and your ton of horses this year.
Thank you very much, Jaimi.
In a field lies hope, anticipation. From the biggest races to the brightest stages.
Forbidden Trade with a gigantic upset.
Desperate man. There's no desperation in those strides.
It's Bulldog Hanover, the fastest mile in harness racing history.
For the glory, the pride, the payoff, enter the field. The Ontario Sire Stakes program, from Ontario farms to the world stage.
Winback Farm of Canada is home to 8 exceptional stallions, including Archangel, sire of Super Final winner Safe Conduct, and Simcoe winner Twin B Archie. Better than Cheddar, sire of 2 Super Final gold winners, Cheesy Smile and Cold Creek Queso. Betting lines, first Ontario crop foals in 2023. He's a sire of Millionaire Bucka Bet Hanover. Mick Wicked, Canadian Hall of Fame inductee, whose first crop will be 2 in 2023. And Trixton, sire of O'Brien Award winner Evident Beauty. Look for his first Ontario crop of the 2023 yearling sales. Also standing, Art Speak, Better's Delight, and My MVP. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.
The racing is fast and exciting at the picturesque Woodbine and Woodbine Mohawk Park racetracks in Ontario, Canada. Woodbine Standardbred, home of the Pepsi North America Cup, a summer classic.
Pebble Beach in Iran.
And Woodbine Thoroughbred, home of the historic King's Plate.
But the mighty filly has devastated them.
Full fields, exotic wagers, iconic events. Play Woodbine Thoroughbred and Woodbine Standardbred today at your favorite wagering location.